Well, how y'all are this afternoon? It's too windy to make a video on the range, so I thought I'd do the preamble to a video on this pistol in the basement. What we're going to do today is we're going to shoot this gun, but we're also going to look at it as grading it out as a used gun. This is a 1911. Now, my thinking was that all 1911s made before 1923 were Colt patent firearm manufactured guns. I don't know much about this gun other than it says property U.S. Army and has a serial number on it. And the serial number is badly faded. Okay? It is a 1911. That's about all I can say about it as far as manufacturers go. It doesn't have an original 1911 magazine. This particular magazine came with Kimber. I've looked at it in the J.C. Harrington book, comparing it to things, and there's a pretty good number of parts on it. It's a long way from being an original gun, and it's been reblued, and it was reblued in such a way that instead of taking the old bluing off of it through a chemical process, which would have saved the letters and numbers and markings, looks like they polished it off with a felt wheel and jeweler's rouge, which left the slide completely blank. And all of the little arsenal marks and so forth on the frame are completely gone. So it has no historical provenance. You can't really prove what it is other than going by the serial number of the frame. The manufacturer's marks are gone off of the frame, and it's been goofed with a little bit on top of all of that. It has a really bright blue that a 1911 wouldn't have. And if you look at this thing in the I think it's an original slide, because if you probably can't see it on camera, but the bluing on the slide is two-tone. It's darker up in the front than it is on the back. Now, when they manufactured these things originally before and during World War I, the process was to heat treat the front of the slide harder than the back of the slide. That causes the bluing to be uneven on the metal where the heat treating process was different. This was done during World War I, which leads me to believe that it's an original Colt slide. 1911s were all manufactured by Colt, but there's no Colt markings on it whatsoever. There's a blemish of marking up here, but you can't, I've looked at it with two different magnifying glasses and a jeweler's loop, and I can't pick it out. I can't figure out what it is going by the markings on the gun. At some point, this gun was grooved up here on the front strap to increase gripping. So someone had maybe tried to make a target gun out of it at some time or another. It does have an original World War I configuration mainspring housing on it, World War I configuration short beaver tail. It has skip line checkered grips on it. It looks pretty original to the World War I configuration, but there's no provenance, there's no proof marks. We're going to shoot this gun in the second part of the video, but what's it worth? It's worth about 4 fingers, because it's a 1911 and it shoots. And that's about it. There's no provenance on it to say what it is, where it comes from, what the history of it is, when it was made, and so on and so forth. It's just an old beater gun, and doesn't have any more value as a firearm monetarily than, say, a common Rock Island Armory. All right, then, that's about the size of it. If I can get him to cut the video off there, we'll go on to the next one. Now we're back with the somewhat modified, original 1911, pre-1923, 1911 pistol. So we've talked about it earlier in the video. It's got some mortifications to it. It's been overly blued and overly polished and so forth. Most of the provenance has been taken off of it. You can't prove the history of it. You can't prove the antique value of it. You can't prove anything other than it's a pre-1923, 1911. But with that being said, it is the policy of this channel to shoot guns. So here we are, and we're going to shoot guns. And I'm going to reach over and pick up that live one laying on the ground. Well, I was going to pick up that live one laying on the ground, but now I kicked it and moved it and I've lost it. Okay, let's go on. We have a nice, hot 45 ACP magazine loaded up here. We're going to see if it'll actually shoot after all these years. I don't think the barrel in it is original to the gun at all. I just don't. We're going to find out what it's like here. We're going to find out where we're at with it. Yeah, we're going to find out what it's about. Here we go. Hey, I think this gun shoots pretty good. All right, got lucky that time. Hammer dropped on that one. Hey. No, I don't think it's got an original barrel in it. I can't imagine a barrel that old shooting that good. Let's that hammer dropped to half cock on the last shot and it didn't lock back. That means that there's some things in there that are worn out. But we'll take what we've got and continue on. Run another magazine through it and see how it shoots. Hold your mouth right, Jones. That was a little sketcy. That was sketchy enough to do a little investigation. Okay, put one in it. See if it'll lock back. Clear. Yep, it's got a hole all the way through it. Okay. Oh, it dropped. Look at that. Yeah, we got a problem. I'll probably wind up working on this gun. But we'll continue on and see how it shootates. It's a little slow. Kind of slow. Probably got some recoil spring issues or some sear disconnect issues. All right. Clear back here. Clear up there. Back in there. Drop the half cock again. Yeah, it's got a few problems. Nice collector gun. Nah, it ain't. Not much of a collector gun. Not much of a collector gun at all. Don't work real good. But I was 14 rounds. That gun shoots really good. That gun shoots really good. It's in the category. So it's got some original parts in it that are worn out. May need to be replaced. I know a guy who's got all the parts to fix this gun. My wife fixes supper for him every night. Yeah. It's a cool old beater gun, buddy. And it needs some help. And I don't know if I'll wind up helping it or not. It's just whatever the guy wants to do who owns this gun. Because it's out of a pile of beater guns that, you know, some people collect guns just to have them. This is definitely not a museum quality version of a World War I Colt. See, did that again. So that's about the size of it for this installment on 8. I got this old used gun, 1911, over 100 years old. Like it, take, share, buy, commentate, and subscribe. Leave me $1 in the Patreon bucket if you want to, and if you don't, I'll keep right on making content for you. Be kind to your neighbor. No matter how grouchy or mean he is, be kind to him. Speak to him every time you get a chance. Maybe you'll change him a little bit. Call your mom and daddy up. Tell them you love them. One day you won't be able to. God bless America, and God bless each and every one of us, except a few people I can think of. Bye now.